As you saw by the title, we'll be making a collect system in Rec Room using CV2. Let's get straight into it. First, you're going to want to pull out your maker pin by going to home on your watch, backpack, going to tools, and you're going to use your maker pin. First, you're going to need an interaction volume. And then you're going to need an int variable. Then you're going to need an add chip. Then we're going to wire the on use or hold completed to the left input on set locked. And then we're going to change the is locked from false to true. Then we're going to wire the set locked output to the input of the integer variable. We're going to configure the integer variable and we're going to name it collect. Now we're going to go to tools, then connect. Then we're going to wire the top value on add to the output of the integer variable. And then wire the sum to the input of the collect integer variable. Then we're going to configure the add bottom value to change it to 1. If you want them to hold the interaction volume instead of clicking it, you can configure the interaction volume and change the interaction hold time to whatever seconds you want. Now we're going to select everything here and we're going to clone it as many times as you want. I'm going to clone it 3 times just for this tutorial, but if you wanted 5, you can have 5 of them. Now we're going to need a list create. Depending on how many interaction volumes you have to make that amount for the items in the list create. So since I have 3 interaction volumes, I'm going to make sure I have 3 items on my list create. And then you can change the item count by configuring the list create and adding input. So now you wire the first item to your first interaction volume, the next item to the next interaction volume, and the last one the last interaction volume. Then for an escape system, I'm going to select this interaction volume and clone it up. I'm going to need a list get count. We're going to need a greater than or equal to. We're going to need an if chip. We're going to go down to the collect integer variables and we're going to clone one of them. Put it right after the if. We're going to get a for each chip. We're going to get an interaction volume set locked. Then we're going to get a show banner notification. And then we're going to get a set transform. We're going to need a vector component and a get position. So now for the wiring part, we're going to wire this list get count to the list create output. Now we're going to wire the output of the list get count to the B value in the greater than or equal to. We're going to wire the A value to the output of this collect integer variable. The result of the greater than or equal to will go to the condition on the if. Then the on use or hold completed, we're going to wire that to the if chip input. The then output will go to the input of the integer variable. The output of the integer variable will go to the for each input. The items for each, we're going to go down to the list create and go to the output. Then for the loop output, we're going to wire that to the input of the interaction volume set locked. Then the item to the target. Then the output of done will go to the show banner notification input. Then the output of show banner notification will go to the input of set transform. The target of the set transform will be the player who used the interaction volume. The position of the set transform will go to the output of the get position. Then the target input of get position will go to the yellow pin at the top of the vector component. And the vector output will go to the rotation of the set transform. For the show banner notification, you can have it say anything for the title and main text, but I'm going to put UN. For this vector component, we can configure it and go to attachment mode and change it to detached. And we can move this white arrow anywhere around the map, and that's where we'll spawn after we collect all of the items. So now if I were to interact with all 3 of these interaction volumes, it should allow me to pass through and get teleported using the last interaction volume. And now if you want an object attached to these interaction volumes, it's going to get you a sphere. You can make any object you want. Make sure when you place one object down, drop your maker pin so they're split shapes. Then we're going to get 3 rotators. Configure each rotator circuit board and scroll down and go to delete all board content. So now wire the gray ring to the object and the gold rod to the interaction volume on all 3. Using tools, connect to make all these connections. Make sure you make all these objects decorational by configuring the object and changing physics mode to decorational. And now you can select your 3 interaction volumes and move them so they line up with your object. Now if you were to move these spheres, the interaction volume should move with it. And that was the tutorial on how to make a collect system in Rec Room using CV2. See you guys in the next video. Subscribe.